Hey all, Steve here. Welcome back to another DC2 update. Just really wanted to cover some ground in this video. So this one we get the brakes cleaned up, we get the wheel wells cleaned up, we do some wheel hunting, and just really make some good progress on the DC2. So let's get into the video. Hey all, good morning. Welcome to another episode. We are getting out and amongst it today. There's one thing that's still kind of stressing me out that I'm just not having luck finding for the Integra, and that is wheels and tires. I've been searching Yahoo, Up Garage, basically whatever I can find online, and just striking out. So I'm just gonna do it the old-fashioned way. Drive around, check out a couple places, because you never know, there might be a deal waiting out there. So I'm probably making this like more difficult on myself than I need to, but my basic criteria are cheap and passing shotgun. Like, I know I can get new tires on my current wheels with mounting, balance, and disposal for about 250 bucks. So if I can find a set of wheels with good tires that look a little bit cooler for around the same money, then I might as well upgrade it. And I would really love to get 16s, like 16 by 7 plus 35 to 45-ish. It's possible. Like, I found it. I've lost a couple sets on Yahoo because I was just too cheap. So anyway, that's the goal. That's what we're aiming for. If I wanted to spend $500, $600, $1,000, whatever, I could have a set like that. But I got a whole car to like make over here, so I'm just focusing on the basics, and hopefully we get a little bit of style out of the deal. Del Sol, baby! So first up, we're gonna check this garage off, which is part of the hard off series and book off, but they do car parts. And I think we have a CTR coming right now. So that was kind of a bust for wheels and stuff like that, but I did score a lot of DVDs and magazines. So yeah, we got a bunch of option DVDs from the early 2000s, and check this out, Integra dealer catalog and S14 Koki dealer catalog, plus like GTR and some other stuff and some hyper revs in there. So yeah, if like JDM memorabilia, old DVD videos, dealer catalogs are your thing, check out nerdgold.jp. That's Instagram, and it's a website. The website's super basic. But yeah, I'm gonna get it all posted up there, and if you do a buy, it's gonna go straight into funding the DC2 build, so I'd much appreciate it. Make some more content. All right, so we'll move on to the next stop now. So of course, the second stop we're at is Up Garage. A bit of a strikeout today. There were some sets that were like $350, $400 with brand new tires, which is cool. It's just like, if they're no-name wheels, I kind of want them for like under $250. If I'm gonna spend like the $400, $500 range, like I'm gonna get wheels that I want that maybe have like half-used tires or something. So I don't know, it's a struggle. So next up, in keeping with the DC Tuesday theme, like the very first time I drove around this area, I stumbled upon this like 90s Honda specialist dealership. Like that's pretty much their stock was mainly 90s Hondas. So I'm gonna try and find it now. I think I found it. We'll go see hopefully some cool old 90s Hondas. And unfortunately they're closed today, but yeah, you got some EP3s. I'm just out on the sidewalk. I'm not gonna go traipsing around in there. Civic Type R, some EK, EG6, and Euro R, and yeah, that's too bad. Like some gems here, really cool. Sidewalk is here, so I'm not gonna go across onto his property. So maybe someday with permission. Just gotta stop for a second and appreciate some sakura. This tree is in mega full bloom, and you can see the green sprouts on it. It's getting ready to change and go all green, and the petals are gonna fall off, and it's just a short little window where it's full on bloom. And these two trees, one of these might be an ume tree, which is like a plum tree, and then one of them might be sakura, which is the cherry blossom, but both exceptionally in bloom. Pretty cool pair. Getting on the DC2 today, it's been a bit of a break as I was editing the Daddy Motorworks video, so go back and watch that if you haven't. All the brake parts are here for the full brake overhaul, so now all we gotta do is get it done. So the rear is still up in the air, and I wanna get the front up. But to do that, I bought a set of 4 jack stands off of Amazon, and I pulled out 2, and I got lucky, no problems, and now I wanna use 4 at the same time. You can see this part didn't cast right. So I gotta try and get rid of that. I don't have a grinder. I need just a whisker off of it so it'll drop down. All I've got is my cheap drill set and these stones that they probably don't have enough. I'm just gonna burn them up, but we'll see. Good while later, got the job done. It's in there. It'll go up 1 click, maybe 2, and that's all I need. Turns out this base was a little bit looser than the one I was trying to put it into, so I swapped these and it jammed down in there. So at a later date, I will fix it, but for now that's gonna work. Mini back and forth, but finally got it up in the air, and now I can take off all the wheels and stuff and really get after this thing. And a bit of an upgrade in the tools section. Went into Astro today to get some brushes for the rear brakes, but these were on sale. It's a little lug nut set. It's actually made for impacts. Save a little money. Feels like a safety upgrade. Chipping away at like a functional tool set. Well, with all the wheels off, this is the first time, I guess, since doing the alternator, I've had a chance to look around up front and kind of scope things out. First things first, we got a bad upper ball joint boot, bad tie rod boot. The lower ball joint boot might be okay, so it might stay. And then the brake hose mount doesn't have a bracket on the coilover or on the shock body like it should, so I need to figure out how to suspend that for shotgun as well. This front lower mount, the engine mount, is through here. It is completely shot. The drive shaft boots are good, I believe, from what I can tell. I don't see grease anywhere. I haven't checked to see if this is sliding and stuff like that, but it's been scraping the little it's been driven. The wear pattern's showing like fully clear, and the backside feels that way too, so I think the caliper should be good. So a fair bit of work up front on this. This is the front left, the passenger side. So let's hop over to the driver's side and see what we got. So on the driver's side, again, we got nice wear pattern on the rotor. Tie rod end boot is blown. Upper ball joint boot is blown. The lower ball joint boot, from what I can see, is blown. And then the most depressing part, this outer shaft boot is blown as well. So all of those have to be changed. Because ball joint boots and tie rod boots go bad so frequently, like maybe every 4-ish years or something like that, every couple of shotgun cycles, they're just sold individually. Like you can just buy the boot to swap boots, which is really handy. You don't have to replace the whole, I don't have to replace the whole outer tie rod end unless it's, in bad shape. So I'm just gonna do the boots and all that. So it's cheap, but you still have to go through all the same labor, almost as if you were changing out the part. Everything's got to come apart. And then again, this brake cable had a zip tie strapping it to the shock, so I need to sort that out. Oh, is this my transmission drain? Looks seized in there. I'm gonna get those soaking. I'm gonna get this nut soaking so I can get the axle out of there. On this side too, we have a motor mount right here, and it is completely blown out. So front engine mounts are bad. So all in all, front end's kind of stressing me out. I'm just gonna soak everything in WD-40 and get it all, you know, loosening up, put the wheels back on, act like act like nothing's going on, and then figure out the part stuff, and then move on to the rear, get all the rear taken care of, and then I'll just come back to the front, because I don't know, it's, if I had a full garage, I would just strip everything off at once and set it aside, but I'm kind of working piece by piece here, so back on the rear, the first complication is I need to get these rotors off. You take those screws out. I saw guys on YouTube take the screws out and the rotor just plops right off there. So I'm just gonna tap it with a hammer and hopefully I can break whatever rust is in there and get those guys off. There we go. It looks really fresh. It just sat after it was changed. It doesn't look super old. The other Astro product score was a brush set. I got these for the caliper brackets, but I think it's gonna allow me to wire brush in there. All right, round two. One of the next things I need to figure out is this rear trailing arm bushing, the big guy. These go bad pretty quick on these Hondas. And I don't know if you can see it, but it's totally ripped on both sides. I talked to Honda about swapping that, and they don't have a part for that. They sell the complete arm, and they said there's no stock on the arm. My plan was to like swap in like a spoon one or something like that. So I asked about bringing a spoon bushing, and they said because it's aftermarket, they couldn't do it or whatever. I don't know of like a Honda specific shop around me that has that tool. There's a special tool for it that you can kind of do it on the car, or you can buy it for like $200, but I don't think I'm going to do enough of them to warrant that. So I don't know. We're just going to punt that, but I thought I was making progress on it, but I you know. Okay, new day. Finished up last time by getting the brake calipers off on each side and draining the system down. Got the rotors off, cleaned up the hubs so they're looking pretty fresh. But I'm gonna kind of get everything protected and covered and remove this camber arm. I don't know about the strut, but get it all ready so I can clean with soap and water and then undercoat everything in the wheel well just to get it a little fresher looking. It's really not in that bad a shape. This side looks pretty good actually. We'll pop the other side. On the passenger side, you can see just, you know, barely specks of surfacey rust starting, so just a good opportunity to put another coating on there and seal it up really good. Okay, both sides are washed and rinsed and just need to dry now, and we'll be able to undercoat them. It's looking pretty fresh now. And now I'm gonna move on to removing the front brakes. So the front brakes came apart pretty good on both sides. I got some unknown blue pads. They are not marked. It's a very like sky blue, not like a, I don't know if that's like endless blue, but anyway, bunch of pad left on them. I might hang on to these and just see how they are later, but the sliders are good. The piston I think is okay on both of them, so Probably could have just, you know, refreshed the front with new pads and rotors and been good, but that's all right. And then took the front plastics out of here, because this is where that, you can maybe get a better shot of it now. This front motor mount is 100% broken free, so that needs a replacement. Kind of the same as the rear, like where the rocks had hit, you know, it's a little speckled with little bits of surface rust, but nothing really of major concern. It'll just be nice to protect that, since that is just like paint. There's no undercoating there to protect it, so having a layer of something thicker on there would be nice. So next I'm gonna wash everything and then get it cleaned up so I can get ready to spray it and undercoat it, protect it. Yep, let's move forward. Everything's drying and doing pretty good. It's just gonna probably take a full day to get all the cracks and crevices to get dried out. So I'm gonna move on to stripping the brake calipers, getting those cleaned up so I can paint them, get them all looking fresh. So this was the seized up bracket, and can't really see it, but reaming it a couple times with the wire brush drill attachment, it cleaned up pretty good. I think it's gonna be okay. One way to find out. So that's a wrap on getting the calipers cleaned up, and all I did is, you know, just wire wheel them and brush them and stuff, but they cleaned up really good. I'm pretty much ready for some paint. All right, back out here. Everything's had a really good chance to dry overnight. Got the head on backwards because I'm gonna be putting my head in some wheel wells to spray this stuff. Got a rust converter that I'm gonna go around and hit just like the speckled spots first with, and then some miscellaneous cardboard pieces that I can use for like backing plates to mask while I spray. So here we go. I do gotta say though, after washing, just with a really good wash, these cleaned up really good. I'm really more interested in just covering up, not so much the undercoat part, just the parts where it's not undercoated. But that's like down here and blah, blah, blah. And it's so mixed and matched that undercoating everything is just the easiest way to do that. Because even like here on the back edge here, I don't know if you can see it, the undercoating stops 1.5 inches up. And you know, that's where everything gets trapped right in there and stuff. So that's why I really want to undercoat. But doing everything black is just the easiest way to keep it looking good without being super splotchy. Basically everywhere was just painted, just hitting all that. So right up here where the fender liner would have protected it, that just got all peppered with rocks, and so I had a little surface rust along there. The best way to do it would be to take off the fender, and then I could mask somewhere right back there and get all of that. But you gotta take the side step off, and then you gotta take the fender off, which is just gonna add a whole bunch of time to everything. In reality, what I do today, I can always do the top portion later without any, you know, negative effects from what I did today. So I can just add to it later versus having to redo everything. Rust converter is sprayed and drying, and now I gotta spend a few minutes breaking down calipers so I can get them cleaned up and painted. This is after cleaning yesterday. They really cleaned up pretty darn good, knocked off all loose rust and brake dust, and then, yep, just gonna take the pistons out, the lines off, mask it, spray it. Got a little bit of rust on it that will Scotch-Brite that off, clean it up. Alright, if this works, you guys are going to witness it first. So here is the setup. I'm working on the front brake calipers now. I had to mount the brake bracket back to the car and then mount the caliper to the bracket so I have some leverage to pry against, because if you've ever done these, you know the pistons can get like suctioned in there. So that's why air pressure from the back through like the bleeder hole or through the banjo bolt hole, that'll push the piston out. I don't have an air compressor, so I'm getting creative. Here's where I'm at. It's so close, but Can't get it to pop. Man, it's probably just the last third maybe in there, last quarter. So it's just that final pop and I can't get it. So here's what we got. Air pressure. This is a balloon blower upper. We'll see how good it does, but it's, you know, designed to move some air. This is the wonders of having kids. So here we go. Getting it in the banjo hole, plugging the bleeder hole. Oh man, it's building really good pressure. God. Oh. Oops. Okay, I blew out my I blew this thing out, so on to plan B. Alright, round 2, option 2. I've got this plastic string tied around the lip of the piston. I'm gonna make like a budget slide hammer type deal. Just put some extra around my sledge here. Give me something quick with weight to pull with. Okay, round 2. Got it tied off on both sides of it now. And here we go. Back to the drawing board. I mean, I could use like channel locks. I don't have any vice grips, but I could use that, but I just don't want to mar up the piston too much because I'm reusing the piston. If I was throwing the piston away, it's like whatever, just get it out of there. To be continued. Success. Ah! Of course you missed the glory of when I was just experimenting, but I got it. So here's what I did. So without the rotor on there, you can just reverse mount the caliper. So that allowed me to hook the lip of the piston with my screwdriver that's got the little hitting end on it. So I could tap it from here, come over here, tap it from that angle, come below, tap it from that angle, and just work it a little bit, little bit, little bit. No major waxing in one position, and then it just popped out. So over here on my workbench now, you can see the piston itself. It's pretty good shape. It should clean up pretty good. We'll get, yeah, so there you go. So that's gonna work out nice. You can see I did not miss, but just the screwdriver slips a little bit. So it makes a little bit of marrings, but that's gonna be okay, I believe. Not like if I was sliding with like pliers or whatever on there. And you can see why air pressure works, because you have a straight hole straight through from the backside where your brake fluid comes in. So if you can put air pressure in there, it'll just push it right out. So, yep, that's one down. One more front, one more rear to go. Moving right along, this is the other side front caliper bracket, and you can see here the slider was getting ready to seize on this guy. They should be looking like that, but this guy was definitely, you know, driven as is, it would have seized up in no time. So yeah, just good to find things like that when rebuilding. That's why we're overhauling everything on an unknown car. You can see my impressive mess of a workstation here. So each caliper bracket are broke down and cleaned up. I gotta try and maybe find some couple new pins for one front caliper, but otherwise the pistons look pretty okay. That one rear piston is like the worst one. The front piston's pretty darn new. They're, you know, pretty darn shiny. Really do need to do like one more really good brake cleaning on it, and then I can paint it, but I don't have time for that today. So I'm gonna move on to trying to undercoat the wheel wells next. I think I got enough time for that. Hey, also, it's been a minute, not as intended. I just focused on getting videos out. One of those was the Taddy Motorworks video. So this will look like no time at all to you guys, but it's been a couple of weeks, and that video now has over 100, maybe 110,000 views on it. So totally mind blown by that. And if you're new to the channel from that, thanks for joining and thanks for watching DC2 content. But behind me, like we kind of left off last time, I got all my brakes masked up now, and I've got my CRC silver high temp paint. Nothing special, just some high temp silver. And if you guys have watched or seen, I think it's Acura Honda Classics Garage or AHC Garage YouTube channel. They do like Resto Mod, OEM Plus Honda repairs and builds. And they said silver was the OEM ITR color, so I'm gonna give it a shot. Oh man, so the first once over is done, and you can see, I thought it might be more of like a dull silver. This is like imitation chrome silver bling. I mean, it looks, I don't know, it looks pretty good, but it is definitely a shiny, if you can see it on my fingers there, a shiny silver, chrome silver. So hopefully it all turns out looking good with the wheels on and stuff like that. Right now, I'm a bit surprised. Yeah, for reference, the color on the lid looks primer gray. we got bling chrome silver. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Alright, so here is the finished paint job. I just let it dry after the last clip and then just touched up a few spots, which is why they're now rearranged. But otherwise, I mean, like I said, it's chrome silver, so we'll see how it looks like on the car. And if you want to learn from my mistakes, start with it like this when you spray. So those are like all the unseen areas first. And then when you flip it over, you'll have your finished surface that you actually see being the last thing you paint. I don't know why I did it backwards, but that just made me touch a few extra places and then touch those up. But anyway, that's about it for today. Gonna let them dry a little more and then reassemble. All right, so we'll wrap it there. Thanks for watching, guys. I'd really be interested to know your feedback on like pace and like, is this too in the weeds? I really want to give you all like a true representation of like what it takes to bring this car back, because like that is the journey I'm on, it's on, like we're all going on together. Do you want less details, more details? I'm trying to figure out what that balance is, and like as a viewer, like what you guys want. So, you know, let me know your thoughts below. Your input really does help me kind of decide what to show and stuff like that. And if you just have comments and recommendations for the car, like that always helps me, so leave those below as well. I do appreciate all your guys' input. It always helps me see something new in a new light, or shows me something I never knew existed. So what's that guy? What's little bee homie's trying to get in this outro? So with that, we'll catch you guys in the next one. I guess spring has sprung. See you guys in the next one. Much love. Be well.